Yeah, nobody ever sees the back of my head.
See, now everybody looks like they're really enjoying it. Thank you.
I can act like an actor. That's my gift. So I may ask you to come out of your comfort zone just a little bit, and if you can come at least closer to the front, that would be helpful for you, because you do not want used information. You want it to be fresh. Thank you.
One row.
Yeah, one row is just enough.
I'm going to suggest something.
Okay, good. And people who sit on the front row are invisible. You do not get called on. Anyone behind them is fair game. Right? So Elaine is off, and Erica, I won't pick on them. Yep.
All right, hi everyone. I'm your friendly moderator, so I just want to make a couple announcements before we get started. My experience in other sessions is that the moderator tries to tell people at the end about the evaluation forms and no one's listening. So I'm going to tell you right now, while I have your attention, there are evaluation forms in front of you. When you, at the end of the session, please fill them out, and if people just want to kind of drop them off at the end of their tables as they're leaving, that's fine. I can gather them up afterwards. And I think that's it. We're going to go ahead and get started. So I want to introduce Andre Cohen, who is going to be our speaker today, and I'm going to let him fill you in on who he is and what he does.
All right, cool. Thank you. Well, my name, first of all, I'm just a humble servant. That's the one thing I want to make clear. My name is Andre Cohen, and I wear kind of two hats, or I operate in two different kinds of ways, or have two different roles. One is I am the cultural coordinator for Anoka County, which oftentimes sounds like I'm Julie McCoy from The Love Boat. And I have about 3 more years before I can no longer tell that joke, because no one will know what I'm talking about. All right. But in that role, I work with human resources and really try to do a lot of training and development. In my private life, I am a consultant with AM Horizons Training Group, and we've written a number of books and tools to help organizations and individuals work more effectively together, as well as in their own personal lives. And so I'm wearing kind of both those hats today. So as we go forward today, I want to talk a lot about attitude. How many people have experienced attitude from our young people, from a coworker, or may have even had an attitude yourself? All right, cool. So we're going to talk about it, and what we'll try to do is turn it on its ear, so that we get a different perspective, so that we can attack the situation and tap those opportunities for learning a little bit differently. All right. So we'll go ahead and get started. And so one of the things that's really interesting about attitude is that it's based on kind of two emotions. One is anger, which is a secondary emotion, but we'll get to the primary emotion in just a little bit. And attitude is also can be enthusiastic, and both of those are very contagious. Have you been in a situation where folks have had a really great attitude? Yeah. Oh, here's the best way to think about that. Have you ever been in a restaurant or maybe a family gathering, and there's a baby, and the baby giggles? What typically is your response, or what is people's response to a baby giggling? At the least, there's a smile. At the most, you what? You laugh as well. You giggle as well, right? Because there's something about the purity of that laughter that just touches you, right? It becomes contagious. At the same time, have you been in a place that's been very mean-spirited, very, in some ways, ugly in terms of how people treat each other? How does that make you feel?
Shut down.
You feel shut down. Is this a place where you want to give your 100% best? Probably not, right? And largely it's because of your quote-unquote attitude. So we'll talk about that. Some of the characteristics of an attitude, they're difficult to measure. They may create inflexible stereotypes. They often are indicated by some kind of behavior. They're formed largely from continuous process of socialization. They're either positive or negative, and they usually are not easily changed. All right? So we're going to talk and explore attitudes. So here is my life to this point, right? So here's me as a little baby, and here are this is my grandmother Willora, and this is my grandfather John, and this is my Uncle John, my Uncle Alonzo, and that's my dad. Right there. And here's our family during our Cosby years. If you look close, you'll see Vanessa and Theo, right? And here's me as a teen. So I'm 17 years old, and I'm at a concert. And if you look close, you can see my friend Samisha, who just retired from the military, 20 years. She is carrying a Uzi semi-automatic weapon in her hand. And if you look closely here, this is me, and I'm carrying a double-barreled sawed-off shotgun. Now, context is everything, right? And so the context of this photo is that we are at a concert. And the name of the band, and I don't know if you know what they play or not, but the name of the band will tell you about the atmosphere at which we took this picture. And the name of the band is Public Enemy. All right? So we're at this concert. And I am my father's son, but my mother's child. In 1968, what was going on in the world? What was happening in the world? Vietnam was happening. The civil rights movement was happening. What's that? Assassinations. Okay. Oh, I forgot to tell you. I'm black. Yeah, I didn't want you to be alarmed. And my parents are also black or African American, however people want to be called. I don't mind, just don't call me late for dinner. And so my African American parents in 1968 turned 18. They graduated from college, and there was one event in April that had a big impact on them, which was what? The assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King, right? And so my father, being 18, says, I want to do something about the revolution. And so my grandparents being supportive individuals, and my grandfather particularly, he said, great, son, do it someplace else. So my father left for college, and he joined a group called the Black Panthers. Now, I don't know what you know about Black Panthers or what you think you know about Black Panthers, but primarily they were a political party. And their job or their stance was to raise people, particularly poor people, out of poverty, and specifically poor black people out of poverty. One of the things that you will know about Black Panthers, or what you should know about Black Panthers, is that they started a program that the federal government said, this is a really good idea, let's continue. And it was the federal school